Hello everyone, I'm happy to be here. My name is Mustafa. Welcome to my recording on importing data to a Firestore database. And I'll be walking you through this lab on the Cloud Skill Boost platform. For this lab, we'll be using a fictitious business scenario, and I'll be walking you through how we can assist the characters with their serverless migration plan. This lab is quite explanatory and it's beginner friendly. The overview of this lab is a company named Pet Theory Chain have gone beyond their on-prem service and now they want to move to the cloud so they can undo the ink load, use their business more efficiently. So let's dive in a little bit more. This is the architecture that I'll be using for this lab. This is the diagram. We have a pseudo customer data, then the data store mode. We can also use the legacy customer data, then take it to the Firestore mode. So this is for test, then this is for production wise. Let's dive into the prerequisites. The prerequisite for this lab is little or no prerequisites. So this lab is beginner friendly, like I said, and it's fundamental. So you are not required to have any previous knowledge, you just have to be aware of what we are saying and follow through while I explain. Let's keep going. Yeah, so the setup for this lab, if this is your first time using the Cloud Skill Boost platform, you have to sign up. So after signing up, then you can click on the link, then it takes you to this page. So this lab is free, you don't need to use any credits for this lab. Let's start. So I'll click on Start Lab. So I'll wait for it to provision, so it could take a while. So it's open now. So I'm going to open my Google console in an incognito window. That's recommended. So I'll copy the details. Copy the password. I understand. Window, so you don't get to use your personal Google account for this. So that's the requisite here. So the next one is to activate Cloud Shell. So you activate Cloud Shell with the Google Auth list. So over this button, click on Cloud Shell. So it's provisioning here. Continue. So I'll wait for it to provision my Cloud Shell machine and also connect to my Cloud Shell instance. So I paste this code here, then I authorize this, and I go back here, gcloud config list projects to set up my environment. So my environment is set up. We want to help Patrick set up a Cloud Firestore in Google Cloud. So the first thing is to go to the navigation menu and Firestore. So here's the navigation menu. You can keep going down till you get to Firestore. Click on more products. So this is Firestore. Click on Firestore. Let's click on the data. Click on native mode. Pick a location close to you. I'll pick Europe, and I'll create the database. While my database is creating, let me go back. So we've set up a location and we've created our database. The next thing is to write a database to import our code. I'm going to clone this repo on the Cloud Shell that I would use for this lab. My database is up. So now let me clone this repo, paste it here. It's cloning. My repo is now cloned. So the next thing is open the editor, then cd to this directory. So you can open the editor by clicking on this, open it in new window. Then you can cd to this directly from the terminal. So I'll open the terminal here so that I have the editor on the other tab. So you can cd here on the terminal. The Then you can go to the editor also, click on this, allow it to load. Lab 01. Let me confirm the name. Yeah, Lab 01. So we are here on Lab 01. Back to the instruction. So this is the, when you click on the package.json, this is an example of what you would see. So let me show you. When you click on package.json, you can see this is an example of what you see. So this is the package for the on-prem database that Patrick is using. So now we'll set up a Firestore database. So for us to set up a Firestore database, we'll run this command. After running the command, it's loading. So we are installing the Firebase into this. Thereafter, we'll install the login tools. So it's also loading. So you can see we now have the Google Cloud Firestore and we have the Google Cloud logins. So if we wait a while also, it should also populate a bit more. So you can see we have it here. Let's go back to the instruction. So let's look at the script that reads the data from here under the import test data file. Here is it. So we'll do some edits on this so that we can link it to the Firebase and make it compatible with Firebase. So this is writing to the legacy DB that Patrick is using it at Pet Theory Chain. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change the constants. Copy this to include Firestore. So paste it in line 4. After that, let's go on. So our code is now in this format. So the next step, we are adding this. So why we are adding this is to make sure that we are writing our records in batch to the Firestore database. So I'm going to add this here on line 9. Thereafter, so like I explained, the function of this code is to use a batch process in which each of the record is processed and turned and set a document reference based on the identifier added. We want to change from writing to the database to writing to Firestore. So I copy this code and I go down here. I'll change this write to database to write to Firestore. That's it here. So let's go back to the instruction. So now I have this write to Firestore. So the next thing is we want to add logins to our application so that we can keep a track of how our records are in Firestore database. So what we need to do is we need to add the login, the constant for the login. So I copy this, come here, and add the constant for the login. So the next thing, we have to also add this code so that we can initialize the login client. So I'm coming here, and I'll paste the code here. So I've added the login client for our Firestore database. So the next thing is to add code and write log in import CSV function. So I copy this and add it here under line 50 and pasting it. So I've added a log entry here also. So feel free to take a look at this thing more closely while you are practicing. So our code should look like this. So here is how my code is, and just in a similar format as the one shown here. That's all for this. So the next thing is to create a test data. So to create a test data, we'll be using a tool from the Faker library. So I'll run this code on my Cloud Shell to generate fake test data. So it's installing, it's installed. So the next thing is I'll open create test data.js and inspect the code to look like this. So I'll go back to my editor, create test data.js, and you can see that the code is similar to what we have in the instruction. So thereafter, we had login to the code base to reference the login API. So you need to add this line. So I'll come here, I add it here. Thereafter, I'll add some other few constants to initialize the login client. So I copy this, add it here, so I can initialize the login client I'm using for this lab. So thereafter, we had to add code to write logs to the create test data. Something like this. We're adding this function under this line. So I copy this. So it should be on, you can find it here, this is it, line 31. I paste it. So this gets saved automatically, but you can also save it to be more sure. Go back to our instruction. So our code block should look this way, something like this. This is how it looks like at the moment. So go back to the instruction. Run the following command to configure the project ID in the Cloud Shell. So I copy this, my Cloud Shell, paste this here, then change the project ID to my project ID, which is here. Copy it, paste it here, then enter. So I've configured it with my project ID. The next thing is to set up the project environment variable. So it's set up. So the next thing is to create a test data. So we are creating a test data for 1,000 record at the moment. We would increase it in some other steps with the Faker library that we installed previously. So it's installing. It has generated the 100 record. So let's check if we've completed our task. So we've completed this part. The next thing is to import the test customer data that we wrote to our database. Click on this to import. So with the code we wrote in the previous session, we used an increment of 500. So that's why starting from 500, then 1,000, since we are only importing 1,000 records for now. So let's do a bit more. Let's import 20,000 data. Paste it here. I've created it and I'm importing it. So you'd see it will start from 500 to an increment. At that increment, it will get to 20,000. So this is 500, 1,000, 15 till 20,000 records. So that's the usefulness of using a batch loading. So let's check if we've completed this task. Task is complete. So the next step is to inspect the data in Firestore. So we'll click on this root sign, then you type in customers, then enter. To refresh my browser so it can get affected. Yeah, reload. So here's my customer name. So I can decide to edit some of them. I can decide to edit the values here. Since I have editor access, feel free to use anything. Just use my name. Then click update. So it's updated. You can also edit other details here also to suit it. Then click update. So it's updated. So we've updated the data for this. So I have editor access. That's why I can update this. So let's keep going. So let's edit and delete file from the data. I've done that now. So to delete, click on this to delete collection. But we'll not be deleting collection here because we want to import the data actually. So the next step We want to add a developer to the project without giving them Firestore access. Let's keep going. I want to add a developer to the project without giving them Firestore access. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this thing, then replace it with this user ID here to give this second developer access without giving them a developer access. So they'll be able to see the data, but they would not be able to edit the data on our Firestore. So come back here. Under our Cloud Shell, it's provisioning our Cloud Shell instance once again. So I'll click on this. Then I'll change the email to the email of the user, of the second user. So copy this email. Then enter. It's safe. It has granted the email the required access. So you can also do this once again to confirm, to give the person a right access. Copy the email, paste it here, enter. So I've also granted this person a right access. So let's check, let's confirm our progress. So you can see it's completed. So the next task is to use the console. So you can confirm it here. We can confirm the developer now has access to this. So the next thing is, let's log into with the second account and confirm if the second developer that we added actually have access to the database. So let's confirm that now. So I'll open this console again in an incognito window. Paste the second user details. Paste the second user details. We are still using the same password. So paste the password here. Click on next. Agree. Email, agree to the terms and condition. And the next thing is to go to Firestore. So you can also use the search command to get to Firestore now. I used the navigation menu the previous time, so let's use the search command, Firestore. Click on Firestore, and you can see the customers here. So if you are in doubt, this is the ID for this for the owner, then this is for the developer. So let's see if we can edit from the developer access. So I'm clicking on this. Can we make an edit? So you can see that we cannot update it because you need permission to be able to edit it. So now we've completed our lab and we've granted the second developer a viewer access to the tags. So he or she is not able to write or edit on the tags. Thank you very much for staying true. I hope you enjoyed this lab. Give yourself a thumbs up, comment, and share to your loved ones. I'll be back for the next episode on our beginner series for GCP. Thanks very much.